We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. Hopefully, your day is going well. It is Saturday. Now, normally we'd have Ed on Saturday. Ed's going to be on Sunday. Yesterday, we had Arlene Unfiltered, which was an interesting show. And this one, we've got Fired Up Will. Will's always fired up, and we're happy to have him on the show because he brings a lot of information, a lot of enthusiasm, and you got to be kind of jacked up. You live in Georgia, and some shit's happening there.
It's hi guys, hi everyone. Yeah, it's kind of hard to follow Arlene. That's yeah, this is the B band guys, sorry. So yeah, it's been when the first day of early voting, it's 200% more than ever. It's insane.
Yeah.
People are waiting an hour to vote, and we know those aren't Republicans. We know it.
No.
No, we know it. There was one lady who did saw a video, came across my FYP. She's 78, looks pretty good, 78, 80. She went to vote, and she says there was a long line, so she goes, I didn't want to, but I told them I'm 80, I can't stand. They took her right to the front of the line. She
Good
voted
move.
blue, and but the thing about her is at the end at the end of the video she was crying. You know why? She said because she felt so relieved
Yeah.
that I finally did something to end this. Um, Arlene made a great comment in her TikTok the other day that in Georgia, there are 85,000 new voters in the state. 85,000. Trump lost the state by a little over 11,000 votes.
Right.
There is no fucking way he's winning the state
No.
because those 85,000 are not Trump voters.
No.
I don't even think a percentage of them, 1% of them is Trump voters. We were talking before we came on, but you're taking a trip to LA,
Yeah.
and I'm from LA and here in Georgia. But see, the thing about Georgia, Atlanta has always been a hub of business
Right.
for centuries, literally centuries. Let's be
Right.
honest.
Right.
The reason, Sherman burned Atlanta to the ground because that was the production point
Right.
for the Confederacy. It had to go. So it's still that way, and people come to Atlanta for business. Kind of like what they do now in Minneapolis. It's the same thing here in Atlanta.
Right.
It's just a lot of because if you look around Atlanta, no matter the southern stereotypes, you get into Atlanta, you have like 5 universities,
Right.
3 different high tech medical, the damn CDC's here. So there's a huge intellectual treasure. People
Yeah.
come here and they build. And what happens though is people come from other places and we come here, and basically the only reason that they have a Republican Senate and House, state Senate and House, is because of the rural areas. But little that's starting to change.
Right.
Um, Georgia unfortunately has a 6-week abortion ban. They have no state referendum, um, constitutional referendum mechanism in the Constitution here, so you can't change it. It has to be done through the legislation. Um, Brian Kemp
Or
is still
or or
or
the federal government codifies
oh well,
Roe v.
that's going
Wade
to
and then
happen,
fuck
yeah,
them. Yeah.
and they won't fight it. See, Brian Kemp is trying to be Glenn Youngkin with a Southern accent.
Yeah.
He thinks he's going to pick up the pieces after Trump. He's going to be sadly surprised because
They're
there
going to
ain't going
be
to be little
tiny little
pieces.
fucking pieces. It's going to
No,
take
it's going to
forever to
be,
put together.
yeah, it's going to be ash.
Yeah.
But here in Georgia, the biggest thing, and I know you had Jace from Texas. You had another one who was from Iowa.
Eric.
Eric from Iowa. I'm guessing they're feeling this kind of the same way. Texas is okay, guys. I'm going to say it. I said it blunt in my video the other day. Texas is fucked up.
It is.
I
I
don't
think
know how to
Jace will
read you
admit that.
guys.
I think
I
Jace
don't
would
know how to
admit that.
read you guys. Um, um, it's because Florida is not. And we'll get to Florida in a minute. But here in Georgia, you can feel it. The wind's changing,
Yeah.
and it's not good for the Republican Party. That's why they're pressing. Once those judges throughout the election board decisions. The first one that any kind of, and they're all there. The thing about it is they're self-inflicted. The
Yeah.
reason that they had the one is that you had this one lady on the MAGA on the Fulton County Board of Elections. Now, Fulton County, dead set in the middle of Atlanta. That's blue as you can get. But she was in there, and so she had when Fonnie Willis won her primary or won her primary because she's going to be going for election in November. She tried to stop it. She said there was something fishy going on. And she held up the certification until they forced her and go, hey, lady, we have a deadline. The law says we have to do it.
Right.
So she challenged it, saying that with the election board, and she stood up and said, hey, any county elector person on a county board can question an election, hold it up if they sense something's wrong. And Judge McBurney said, no, not one non-elected person cannot do that. And two, the state of Georgia is clear in their constitution. On 7 days after the election, on November 12th, certifications must be run in by the county. That is the law, or you're in violation of the law. The other thing with the hand count, same thing. It wasn't Judge McBurney, it was another judge who said, nope, that's going to interfere with the timely certification of the election, and non-voted election or board members cannot set Georgia law. You're interfering with Georgia law. That has to go to the House and the Senate. Those are the reasons why they threw it. Those are just basically strong on the core. This is not some kind of political decision. This is the law says. Now, there has been a challenge by the Republicans, but not the state Republicans. In fact, a state Republican group was one of the ones that brought the lawsuit to stop this because they know what's going to happen. It's not conservative. It's not with the law. It's coming from the RNC.
Of course.
The RNC is trying to stop it with whatever bullshit. It's not going to work because the law is clear. The law is clear. On November 12th, we have to have certification. And also, there's a law. There's no way that an election board can set up a law. You're not voted. It has to go to the House and the Senate.
This is a perfect illustration of something we were talking about before. When it comes out, oh, Georgia's going to want a hand count. Oh, Georgia's going to want to delay the certification. All these things. And people said, oh, my God, we're in trouble with Georgia. This is just people spewing bullshit. That's like saying Will's a poopy butt. Until we prove it or can bring it within the law, it's just noise. And that's what this was. And people got caught up in the noise and they said, oh my God, clutch my pearls, wring my hands. But as soon as the law gets involved, then it just starts going away. That's why you don't worry about this shit.
And this is not just Georgia. You can see all the challenges that are going out. All of them are failing.
Yeah.
They're failing. Two reasons they're failing. One, because most of the requests are just damn ass stupid. And by the way, Republicans, I think it's in Pennsylvania, are fighting mail-in votes from overseas.
Right.
Do you know what that means? They're fucking military members.
Right.
They're taking away their right to vote in their states because they're out serving our country. And next time I hear Republicans saying that they're for the military, fuck you. I'm blunt again. I'm on a blunt mood. I've been in a blunt mood for 2 days.
Well, don't you think this is the last gasp of Republicans? I mean, on the last gasp, they're going to be going for the fences and they're going to fail every time. But it's crazy now, and it's going to get crazier yet.
I put it this way, because I try to put it in like analogies or saying in my head sometimes what's going on. And I thought about the 2004 tsunami in Indonesia.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the story about Tilly Smith, the young girl in Thailand, in British girl?
No.
So what happened is that the morning of the earthquake happened, and then, as you know, it set off a huge tsunami through the whole area. Many people died, flooded. We've seen the pictures. But at one beach in Thailand, this young girl, 10-year-old Tilly Smith, she's 30 now. God, she must be a scientist or something. She's looking at the beach and she sees the water back out, suck back. She sees whirlpools. She sees fish flopping around. She turns to her mom and goes, we got to go. She goes, why? We have to go because the water's coming and it's going to be big. It's a tsunami. So she convinced her. They got into the hotel. They convinced the hotel manager who looked out there and said it was weird, cleared the beach, and then the water came. And so say she saved a lot of people's lives. So what we're seeing right now with what we're talking about, the desperation, what Trump is talking about, all the weird shit, the polls come that the what fake polls that now have been turned over by real polls showing that Harris is on a run. I just saw internal polls that the Republicans are in panic mode about losing the House and the Senate. That's not looking good for them. So the water is backing out and the tsunami's coming and it's going to be damn cold blue. I ain't going to like it, guys, because when North Carolina goes blue that night on November 5th, we all know they're fucked.
Well,
And that's what it's coming.
the thing about it is everybody talks about how the election will go based on what they know to be from history. I'm convinced that we're going to get more than one state that everybody's been counting on as red to turn blue. And when a Florida, a North Carolina, or Iowa, that just shakes up the whole process and the track for Donald Trump to win anything. And there are going to be some flips in states. We know that.
But I don't see the trends. Again, Arlene said it, don't listen to polls. A lot of people said don't listen to polls. Again, they earlier last week, like on Clockwork on Sunday, NBC was coming out that everything's tied. I heard that and go, you're so full of shit.
It's bullshit.
It's not good. And they found out their aggregates are based on a lot of these polls being paid for by right wing in order to flood the average.
You
And
don't
that's why
think
they got it.
you don't think the Republicans would fund polls to put out wrong information just to fuck with the election, do you? You don't think they do that?
Well, they don't have money, but they have billionaires that are doing it.
Yeah.
Apparently, Elon Musk has pumped $75 million into Trump's campaign because, well, let's face it, he's fucking broke.
Do you hear how he did? Do you hear what the other thing that
The
happened?
$100 per voter in Pennsylvania?
No. Old Soul sent me this, and I did a TikTok about it.
Oh, I missed it.
There is a new PAC called Progress 2028. It's supposed to be a counterbalance to the 2025 project, and that it's supposed to be for the Democrats and Kamala Harris, but it's not. It's paid for with dark money from the Republicans, and Elon Musk put $100 million into it. So they got a PAC out there trying to get money for Kamala, but they're putting it in their pockets. I mean, that's got to be borderline illegal. That's fraud.
Well,
isn't it?
dark money, as long as they have Citizens United out there, it's basically Wild Wild West.
Yeah.
As soon as Citizens United came across elections, money is fucked. Until we get rid of that, they basically can do what they want.
But if you're taking money and saying it's for one thing, but it's not, you're defrauding the people who are giving you the money. I mean, you can't say I'm going to give you a brand new Corvette and send them a Matchbox car. You can't defraud humans.
But this has been a con game for a decade.
Yeah,
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's a con game because I kept thinking. I mean, we keep trying to figure out why. How did Trump do this? Okay, and it finally just sat down and I looked at the past to what it came through. Donald Trump. One person made a comment: if he had taken his dad's money and not done a goddamn thing and sat on it, he would be fine.
He'd be a billionaire, actually.
But see, the thing with Donald Trump, he wanted to be like his pop, and he wanted to do more than his pop because his pop hated him. And well, go watch some of Mary Trump stuff, and you'll get a good idea of that.
Yeah.
How he was raised. But that being said, Donald Trump runs his life as a con. People say he's a salesman. Fuck no, I'm a salesman.
I've been a salesman. Not. He's not a salesman.
No,
he's a
he makes me sick because he sullies that. But he's a con man. He's conned people into believing that, and this is going back to New York, that he is something that he is not.
Right.
He's not a brilliant businessman. He's not anything. And the thing that why, before The Apprentice, he went broke. Why did he go broke? Because the one thing everyone keeps forgetting about this con or any con man, what's the idea about the con man? You get their money and then you leave. You
Right.
disappear.
Right.
I mean, one of the greatest movies of all time is The Sting. They got the man's money and then they left.
Right.
They didn't hang around. And
No.
the problem wrong with Donald Trump, starting back in the 80s or 70s or 80s, whenever he started his bullshit, is he got addicted to his own story. He used his own product.
Yeah.
He thought he was what he was. And he was at the bottom until The Apprentice came by. And what The Apprentice did is what Lawrence O'Donnell would have called sane washing his con.
Right.
They produced his con as an actual business that he's good at. It's the same con, but they just worked it and edited it to make him look good. I mean, Noah Cashman is talking about all the things you're talking about, like with the diaper and stuff. He was doing then,
Yeah.
15 years ago. So the point is, this is a long-term con. When The Apprentice went down, Trump went to run for president just to boost his picture, but he did not expect to win. And then when he got to winning, then he got addicted to the power.
The power. Yeah.
He believes his own bullshit. And the point is this: we have been fighting the Trump reality show for the last fucking 10 years.
Well,
This is the last goddamn
Trump,
season.
Trump has had the perfect situation to pull off this con because Dad gave him $400 million, and then he convinced everybody that he was a powerful, wealthy guy that was very talented and knew everything, and then he just parlayed it as time went on, and he leveraged everything. And then when things got tight, he was almost in that situation like with the Enron thing, too big to fail. So people would bail him out because the banks didn't want to lose their money after he filed bankruptcy. So he I'll give him credit. He took he took $400 million and turned it in a lifetime career of nothing but cons.
And he hasn't really accomplished anything. That's the thing.
No,
He hasn't accomplished anything. He hasn't given anything to New York or anyone. I mean, let's be honest. He hasn't. I mean, everything's a con. I mean, Democrats came up with some information about when he was president, he was charging the Secret Service 300% more on the rooms when they showed up to
yeah,
protect him.
yeah,
That's my money. That's your money.
right.
It's a con. He lined his pocket with us. And that's what comes back to it. People buy the con. And now we're so deep into this con because he conned the entire Republican Party.
Right.
He gave them some power. It worked for a little while, but it hasn't been really working. But he keeps working the con on them. And so now they're at the point they can't get around it. They're screwed. There's nothing left
They should have
because the
seen this
con is
coming. They
working.
should have seen this coming, though. I mean, the fact of the matter is, whether you're talking about a narcissist or a con man, there's always an end. There's always
There's
a
all,
crash, and it's like the pyramid scheme. He's going to crash, and then a lot of people are going to go down with him, and that's unfortunately what's going to happen here.
but the biggest thing too is like the party had it when the con affected the republic. Okay, we got rid of him in 2020 because COVID. We saw what happens when reality, when the real world interferes with his fantasy, as in a COVID. That's why everyone turned on him. As Kamala Harris, 81 million people fired your ass.
Yeah,
It's true. He couldn't accept it, which led to his new con, January 6th, the electors. That's all a freaking made up thing that to this day, and he said it at that Tom Howland Univision, no, that was a peaceful day. Dude, even everyone who does not speak English was sitting in that audience going, bullshit. You could see it through all their faces.
why
All
can this
right.
fucker not read a room, man? He just can't.
No,
He goes to
because
Detroit and tells people that Detroit sucks. He tells he's every time he goes, he shits on himself, literally and
I mean,
figuratively.
literally and figuratively, but also night in front of that Al Smith dinner, and I'll have a comment on the Catholic Church in a moment, but dude, you and I are blunt. we have a very bad vocabulary.
I
Okay.
got a great color. I've got a great vocabulary, and so do you. It's just that we happen to be a little more colorful than other
So,
folks.
and if you don't like it, fuck you if you can't take a
Fuck
joke.
you all. Yeah.
Yeah. But the point is, if we were in that situation with the high archdiocese, political figures, um, the cardinal, all of it, I'm an ex-Catholic. I would have been a little more respectful. Motherfucker was not.
No.
He was horrid. He was disgusting. And the thing about it, that day was one of the worst days for the Catholic Church. Ex-Catholic here, doesn't believe in organized religion, but I'm a Christian, so I'll fight you to the bitter end about my beliefs, but I'll let you do what you want. I don't care.
Right.
Um,
Why did they invite him though? That was a fuck
well,
up.
that's the thing. This is where it gets good. That same day, see, I lived in Los Angeles for years.
Hmm.
It's about 15, 20 years ago. When my mom and dad got married, they were married by Monsignor um, Robert Mahoney. Robert Mahoney was a Monsignor, be Cardinal of Los Angeles. Also, Roger Mahoney. Sorry, Roger Mahoney also was the bishop of the Fresno diocese, but he also knows about the sexual abuse of children under priest in
Right.
Fresno and Los Angeles. And he got run out. He slowly retired because they were doing the shell game, hiding it,
Yeah.
moving priests around, telling people to shut up, paying them off to an extent. Finally, for that little thing, it cost them $788 million to keep them to pay it off. Fast forward to Friday. When was the Al Smith dinner? Was that Friday? I believe it was Friday. No, this is Friday, Thursday. As we're recording it, bear with me, guys. That day, the next cardinal or the next people in charge of the LA Archdiocese didn't learn their lesson and had to cough up $880 million to victims of priests because
Right.
they did the same bloody thing.
Right.
I mean, then we go to the Al Smith dinner and Donald Trump, known sexual abuser, adjudicated rapist, let's be honest, all the things he's done to women, is hugged like a brother by the cardinal of the Archdiocese of New York. Why did they let him do it? Because all those elites in New York, including the church, still think he's a stand-up guy.
Yeah.
They still buy into his con. And I saw that and I'm going, this is why I don't go to church anymore. That is
Yeah.
so wrong. It is
I,
disgusting.
I have a big problem with organized religion because I've had my own experiences with it. That doesn't mean I'm not Christian, that I don't believe in
Yeah.
God, because I do. I just don't believe in humans. And humans, I look at organized religion. This is just my thought. You can think whatever makes you happy, whatever makes you comfortable, you should do. But for me, um, organized religion, organized parties for that matter,
Mm-hmm.
are clubs formed and operated by humans who are
Mm-hmm.
notoriously fallible, who are notoriously greedy, and I don't put my faith in people that way when it comes to my religion or my politics. That's why I'm not a Democrat or a Republican.
I mean, the thing about it is like, I mean, my mom always said, because she left the Catholic Church way before. She knew it. She could smell it. But my mom was very religious, so I grew up that way. My mom was a stone cold Democrat. I mean, Robert Kennedy, she was with part of the civil rights movement. I was going to be there whether I liked it or not, because I saw that.
Yeah.
Um, I saw that. I mean, I heard them. I was part of it as a kid. I remember. So it stays with me. And I think that helps everyone. But she always said about not going to church was that there's that's there's in the Bible, if one or two are gathered in my name, I'm with you. So
Right.
it doesn't matter. It
No.
doesn't matter. It's a creation of man. Sometimes in you see those big mega churches and all that. Oh my God, it's so sad. Kenneth Copeland, these so-called false Christians make my blood boil because you use my beliefs, you use Jesus' beliefs You twist them for your own power hungry stupidity.
Well,
And it hurts everybody, including women nowadays.
you see
Even
why
worse.
Donald Trump has followers like that, because a lot of them come from the evangelical church, and they do that with their ministers, they do that with their churches. They get caught up in it and they want to belong, and they will believe anything, and they will fight for anything these people do, no matter how egregious. You know, I was going to ask you this,
Mhm.
something I've noticed. I've said this to um, other people I've talked to. I am very
Right.
surprised that Donald Trump is still upright and ambulatory this close to the election. I thought, with his conditions physically and mentally and all the things raining down on him, that he would be crushed under the pressure. Now, either he's delusional and he doesn't realize it, or he's more of a cockroach than I imagine. But I'm getting the sense with some of the things happening now that we're at that cracking point with Donald Trump. He's canceling rallies, he's canceling interviews. Um, he doesn't look good. He looks like he's haggard. He's becoming more cognitively troubled or diminished.
Mm.
I think we're at a cracking point with him. I just want him to hold on until November 5th because I
Right.
want him to lose.
Yeah, that'll be the fun. To the point that the mass media, who's been his biggest ally, let's face it, they have been. They're his biggest ally. They are now starting to notice it, but they're still trying to sanewash it.
Right.
Um, but the people who really know it, let's be honest, and we're going to talk about the Harris campaign. I have never seen such a perfect political campaign in my whole damn life.
I agree. It may be the best presidential campaign I've ever seen.
Period. Money raising, ground game. They hit the round. She got, I don't know how she did it, but she got all these people who knew what to do and just went for it. Because the Biden people, I don't know, maybe they were tied, or maybe she just brought her people in. They said, we're going to do this because we have, maybe it was just a short period of time.
I think it's
All I
about
know,
I think it's about
but
energy.
mhm.
Biden had good, hardworking people, but this energy is an intangible, and it plays a huge part in what's going on with Kamala.
And she has not made an error. And I don't give a shit what the mass media says.
No,
No, not one error. And she has responded to every challenge. So let's go back on what you were saying. His decline. After the debate, she knew it. Did you notice that she upticked her media?
yeah,
As he got worse, she became more prominent. Even Tim Wall started to fade back. Have you noticed that? Tim Wall,
I said he
yeah,
needed to.
yeah,
He needed
he
to do
did.
that.
And now he's doing the little bits. He's still back out there, but she's on the up in front because they kept responding. Okay, fine. You want that? Sure. And then came the media blitz, starting with the Call Her Daddy, 60 Minutes, Howard Stern,
The
and then
view.
the coup.
Yeah,
And basically, I described it in a video. When you have someone on the ropes, which she does,
you
she had
finish
Trump's
him.
on. She has Trump. You don't hit them in the face. You hit them in the body. You always go for the body. Why? Because you want them to drop their arms eventually
Yeah.
because they get too tired and then you pop them in the face. She's been body blowing him for at least the last 3 weeks. Her rallies are brilliant. Her comebacks are brilliant. Everything ties from her from what she's going to do for America to what he's not going to do for America. Unbelievable contrast. And then the headshot was that fucking Fox interview.
Yeah.
Oh, Brett. Brett did that, and maybe he was going to do a regular interview, but I know damn well that he got the memos and all those little pieces of paper he had. I'll guarantee you were all written in crayon from Trump.
Well,
What
that's
he
the
had
thing.
to do.
That's the thing. When she went on there, I think Fox News and Donald Trump thought this is the opportunity to embarrass her, and they couldn't have failed more. I mean,
I
she
mean,
she she benefited from that interview because Brett Baer ended up looking like a fucking idiot.
well, the thing about it too is like honestly, they still think they're running against Joe Biden. I mean, I'm keeping hearing quite. They try to ask questions about Joe Biden, and she's like, but they also think they're running against Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
Again, no offense to Secretary Clinton, she does not have the prosecutional or the wherewithal how to really think on her feet like that.
She's not as
That's
good. She wasn't as good a candidate as Kamala
no.
is. I don't care what anybody says. She's not,
And so,
because
mm,
not only does she have a similar amount, if not more, experience,
mhm.
but she has a personality.
Yes.
She has a personality that draws people in. Hillary did not have that kind of personality. She was kind of flat, and people
Mm.
couldn't love her. People love Kamala.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think that's the term. And then so when you get a career prosecutor whose job is to see through bullshit and turn the bullshit on you, that dude was dead.
Yeah,
And what I
she
love
fucked him
about
up.
it, what I love about it is that halfway through the interview, no, I didn't see the interview. I saw a lot of the highlights, but I started to notice when she went after him, he started to say, "Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am." A couple of times he bowed his head. Yeah, bitch, that's the alpha sitting across from you. You better bow your head. You better. That's the way it's going to roll here, man. I'm sorry. When she went after him, and who was raised by a Latino mother, when she used that tone, yes, ma'am. I
yeah,
am sorry. What do you need?
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, that was a domination, period.
She took control. Now, Donald Trump did do one television appearance on the Fox Morning Show.
Yeah,
And
I saw
somebody
that.
said, well, oh, he'll just get softballs. I go, he'll fuck that up too, which he did. But I want to know if you've noticed something. If you haven't noticed it, you should go back and take a look at it. There's something weird about the way that's set up, him in the middle and them talking. If you look closely at Donald Trump appears to be the only one sitting on a black towel. He's sitting on a towel because they got a white couch and they think Donnie might shit his pants. So let's put a towel down. It's pretty interesting.
I thought you were going to say there was like a lot of space on that couch between Trump and the other people. There
Well,
was a lot of space on that couch. Because he normally those people usually try to close. No, there was a lot of space on the couch. I mean, yeah, it was his fascist manifesto. Yeah, by the way, they keep saying he doesn't know anything about Project 2025. Yeah, abolishing the Department of Education
that's right
is
in there.
on one of the paid chapters of Project 2025.
Absolutely.
And to watch that, oh my God. That one question, and he's looking, we're going to set up education czar. We're going to tell them how to educate kids. And that one sycophant in the corner going, well, what if this liberal people come up with this other camp education? What are you going to do? We're not going to give them money. Bitch, money has not come from the federal government for Department of Education. It's supplementary. It
Right.
comes from your fucking property taxes.
Right.
I mean, and to watch them, you see, before we started talking, you had to come. Why are these people still sucking up to him? Why?
Good
I mean, it
question.
doesn't make sense. And you answered the question, and it basically you said, well, eventually they're gonna let him go. I mean, what was your point? You said that they got to let him go now, right? I mean, that was your point when we started the
You're talking
conversation.
about Republicans?
Yeah, Republicans and all those people. Why are
Well,
they still attached to him?
well, yeah. Why are they still attached to him? Maybe it's like you say, they got no place else to go, and they're just going to go down with the ship. But ultimately, when it's all said and done, and the election is over, there's nothing. You can't squeeze any blood out of a stone, and there is virtually nothing left of Donald Trump that was be beneficial to the Republicans. I mean that happened a long time ago, but they were
Yeah.
unaware of what's really
Well,
going
they
on.
were
But once
aware.
he loses another election, and if he loses badly, why would you stick around?
But see, they're aware. They were aware after January 6th. Even
Yeah.
Kevin McCarthy knew was aware. Mike and Mitch McConnell. Uh, anyway, hell has a special place for you, Mitch. It's waiting. They have it all polished up, ready for you
And it's going to
uh,
be soon if you see how he looks.
soon. But there's a new book trying to sane wash Mitch McConnell. That he was very upset after January 6th. He called Trump a despicable person. He was crying afterwards. He said he was sorry to his staffers. And then 2 days later, that motherfucker did not impeach him. He defended him. And then when they asked him about his comments, he said, "Well, we're all in the same team now." Really, Mitch? The same team where the man is basically saying he wants to lock up all his political enemies, use the military on protesters in the United States, deport legal and illegal legal immigrants, set up camps. Is that your team now, Mitch?
Right.
You.
Other
Ugh.
than Donald Trump, you know who I think you can hold responsible for the demise of the Republican Party after Donald Trump? Donald Trump is the key culprit. But after that, it's Kevin McCarthy. Because after the
Yes,
2020 election, they should have let him go and say, see ya, wouldn't want to be ya, send Donald Trump on the way and just leave him alone. But of course, Kevin McCarthy goes back, kisses the ring, and brings him back in the fold. Had they not done that, this would be a different election right now.
they're so afraid of the MAGA. What is it? Horde? Is that the best way to describe it? I don't want to describe it. And yeah, there's a good reason. I mean, we saw what's going on with FEMA. I mean, you got armed militia not let FEMA help people,
Yeah,
hunting FEMA officials. Why? Why? You have, I mean, threats. I mean, people saying Trump said, "Well, I wouldn't wear a Kamala hat, or you might get hurt."
yeah,
Dude, you really don't want to do this to a lot of people. Do you want to run across? Yeah, I want you to say that to Dave Bautista's face and see what happens.
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and do that. But the point is, there is a majority. There's a fear factor of doing what we do.
Right.
It is because I mean, they will spout off. But the point is, they're still the fucking minority. And the problem with the Republican Party in that time, they thought they needed them to win an election. But here's the point: you lost the election. That you just
Substantially.
lost an election, and you went back to the same thing that lost you the fucking election.
Yeah.
So you got a little lucky in 2022 for the House. Still lost the Senate. You barely lost the House. And oh, by the way, your performance is going to end the Republican Party because you let the crazies run it,
Yeah.
Kevin, because you wanted to be Speaker. How did that work out for you?
It's like going
It
back to
didn't.
the old ex. That never works. You broke up
No.
in the first place for a reason, and to go back hoping it's going to be different, it's just absolutely a fool's errand.
And the thing about it from now, for all of us, we see what the voting is going on. I don't give a shit about the polls, and they keep pushing the polls. And the media keeps saying, "Oh, well, it's still." No, it's not. You know it.
No.
They know it. They feel it. I mean, the trend is there. You don't have this much early voting because Donald Trump is making inroads.
Well,
No.
that's exactly right. Explain to me how you have Georgia, battleground state, have double, almost triple the amount of early voting, and it's largely Democratic. How Kamala Harris raised $1 billion in 80 days, and Donald Trump raised only a third of that.
If
All
lucky.
the all those things. How are the polls the same? That makes no goddamn sense.
No,
It's
it
all
doesn't.
bullshit.
It's all bullshit. It's trending. And here's the thing. Let's talk about Georgia. We'll come back to Georgia. Who made Georgia a swing state? Donald Trump.
Yeah,
He turned into this. Let's go back in time, back to 2020. They had two senators, two MAGA senators, David Perdue, Kelly Loeffler. You had, and then Reverend Warnock and John Ossoff.
right,
Okay. First of all, they didn't think they had a chance, but Trump got involved. Okay. And so Purdue and Loeffler did not win 50 plus one. In Georgia, you have to win 50 plus one or it goes to a runoff.
right,
Doesn't matter. That's a Jim Crow thing that left over. So it goes to a runoff. That's right. It's going to be right after the normal election. January, all the things are going on. Trump comes to Georgia and tells people that the mail-in voting and voting is wrong. Don't vote
right.
because it's all messed up. And they go in, and basically what happens, they don't vote. because usually on a runoff, Democrats don't show up. Don't
Right.
ask me why, you dumbasses. You never do. But we did this time, and we ended up with 2 Democratic senators.
Right.
And that led to the COVID relief we got. That led to a lot of stuff we got. He turned it into a swing state so badly that because Warnock was taking a partial Senate seat, he had to go back the next year and run again.
Right.
And he beat the brakes off Herschel Walker
Right.
because he turned us into a swing state. And the people there and the influx of so many people from different states into Georgia, because the difference between Georgia and Alabama and Mississippi, Georgia has industry.
Right.
Georgia has a business base. Atlanta is a source of business and knowledge. It's not what people think it is. We're not fucking Birmingham.
No.
Okay.
No.
And so those people come from other places. Do you remember when Green said that, you should not be able to vote in a state for about a year when you move in? Yeah, that's because we're moving in your area and we don't want to deal with your bullshit anymore. It's just made such a change. And with Trump, it just made it even bigger. Stacey Abrams getting screwed by Brian Kemp helped out. Georgia is now a swing state when it should not be a swing state. It shouldn't. Let's be honest. It shouldn't. And it
No.
is. And then go to Florida. You know what's making Florida a swing state? And it's not even Donald Trump. It's Ron DeSantis. Dear God. That was a good choice, Florida. That man's incompetent beyond incompetent. He makes
Yeah.
Donald Trump look good.
Let, let,
Um,
let me tell you about a representative from Georgia
mhm.
who just cannot learn a lesson, and a host of a radio show that just cannot learn a lesson. This is a news story that came out today. It says Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia claimed Friday during an interview with conspiracy theorist Alex Jones that Dominion voting system software was switching votes in her district from Republican candidates to Democratic Party candidates after Donald Trump lost the 2020 election. Many of his allies on the right were making similar claims. Now, Dominion sued Fox to the tune of $787 million. Alex Jones has been completely raided of all his wealth because of the lies he told about Sandy Hook. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, this tells me she thinks she's in trouble in this election because she needs an excuse to explain why she lost. But she's going to the Dominion route and saying they're changing it. Why wouldn't they sue her too?
Well, first of all, if you're in her district, Sean Harris, I mean, that guy is, former Army general.
Right.
Vote for him. I got more problems in my county, in my district, because I have Mike Collins, who's a MAGA fuck,
He's
a
a
rich
dipshit.
guy. He's a dipshit. And the problem is, and I say this, I looked it up. I found his opponent is a nice woman, but I looked up what Cook's political point said. His war chest is $1.1 million. She
Yeah.
has $55,000. Hey,
Yeah.
Democrats, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I thought we were supposed to help down ballot. I mean, I'm going to vote for her because that guy is just Marjorie Taylor Greene without a bra. But
Uh,
Green's opponent is huge, and I think she's in trouble. I'm hoping, dear God, I'm hoping that. Did you see that CNN reporter go into the backwoods of Georgia the other day,
I've
yesterday?
seen a bunch of them actually.
Well, he went back there and he started talking about these elderly folk of who they're going to vote for president, and they said it's not going to be the guy. Now, they won't say they're going to vote for the black woman because you're in the 70s and 80s. Yeah, I know, dudes. You can't give up that old time. I get you.
Right.
But they talk shit about Trump. They talk hardcore shit about Trump.
So they're either going to vote for Kamala or not vote at all, and either way is fine with me.
It's fine. Or they're going to vote for Kamala and not admit it. I
Yeah.
mean, it's like that scene from Blazing Saddles when that old lady gives him the pie, and afterwards he knocks. You won't tell anyone about it. Of course not. No, she won't because she'll be embarrassed. She
Yeah.
can't do that. But see,
Yeah.
that's the thing. It's seeping through, and so much. they're so isolated, these people. I mean, you watch some of the videos of some of these MAGA people, they're pathetic.
Yeah.
They're desperate. It's sad.
Incredibly stupid.
It's not even stupid. It's just kind of sad. And then you watch Florida, and they keep trying to say it's close, but I find it hard to believe that Rick Scott's going to win that race.
Oh, I can't imagine him winning.
I mean, those people were voting blue. The whole golf cart thing. I mean, I that's just signs.
Yeah.
You can't tell me he's going to turn around and win.
No, I don't
I
think so.
mean, I mean, we're finding such. The thing about it, we're our own worst enemy, and a lot of people are still. You're getting them. I'm getting them still. What about this? What about that? No, no. I had one guy. One guy talked about. Said a video about North Korea is sending troops in for Putin into the war, and so when people start panicking, it was World War III. No, it isn't. They're going to be cannon fodder. They're not
Yeah.
going to have equipment. And I just read the other day, these guys are deserting. They're
Yeah.
deserting
Why do
because
they need North Korean guys? Because they're
because
running out of their own guys.
yeah, so they're feeding these guys to the meat grinder, and Ukrainians are like, okay, whatever, we'll get them too, and they're deserting.
Yeah,
So the point is, I mean, everyone wants to panic about everything.
I know.
Stop it, because the biggest one I saw just today is like Stuart Stevens, who's a senior member of the Lincoln Project, was talking about, he was trying to wonder, why is Trump just throwing the race?
Yeah,
Honestly, let's be honest. He's not doing anything to help him. Kamala Harris is. I mean, he's showing up in battleground states, maybe, if he doesn't cancel, but his speeches are all the same.
yeah.
It's nothing appealing to anyone. Kamala Harris is on a tear. Um, why? He goes, why are they doing this? So stupid. And then he said, because that's not their plan to win. Their plan to win is to basically burn down all the counting areas after the election and force this to go to court so Congress can declare him president. And I sat
But
there
it
for a
won't.
minute. Well, the thing that everyone keeps fucking forgetting, who is president of the United States right now, folks?
Exactly.
And Joe Biden,
And
honestly,
who
when it
and who's going to
go
be
ahead,
the speaker on January 3rd? Not
it's
Mike
going to be
Johnson.
Hakeem Jeffries.
Yeah, there you go.
I keep hearing this. Well, Congress. No, it's not going to be that Congress. It's going to be another Congress. It's
Right.
going to be they get seated before
January
this.
3rd. January
Yeah.
3rd, 3 days before
So
the 6th.
exactly, and so I heard that. I'm going, really? Do you not think that in those states, like in Michigan, do you think Gretchen Whitmore is not going to send the National Guard down to protect that place in Detroit?
Oh,
She's not going to
absolutely.
roll over. Do you not think that if in January 6th these idiots think they're going to show up again, that it's not going to be just Capitol Police? It's going to be the fucking National Guard ready for you, and the Capitol Police with a chip on their shoulder.
And
And
probably
also,
about probably a couple hundred drones that
yeah, but also, let's be honest. You said it several times, and I'll repeat what you said. Trump has always called for them to show up whenever he's been in trouble. How many show up?
none.
How many want to do it?
Not
I
enough.
mean, I mean, the theory from some people is that Trump will make a call out, and certain units of the United States military will follow him. You really think a command officer is going to do that?
No,
I
they're
mean,
not.
I don't see. I mean, this is a fantasy that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I mean, it's and stop it. As for the election, whether they're going to throw it, they're trying and they're failing. Your vote's going to get counted, and that's what they don't. They can't suppress the vote.
Right.
They can't stop people of color from voting. That's been their key for years. Um, they can't do it anymore.
Right.
You can't do the poll taxes. You can't do this. No. Even with them gutting the original Voters' Rights Act, which is going to take care of business once the John Lewis Voting Rights Act is finally passed, the states can't do anything. They can't stop it. And if you look at it, The states with the worst that have the worst problems are the ones that have the least amount of turnout.
Right.
Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, they're in misery. Why? Because people don't vote and they let these people run them over. I don't get it. I never have got it.
Yeah.
Go out and vote. People died for that right for you.
Exactly.
Why don't you do it?
Well,
It's just
we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. We're back on the Rational Boomer podcast. Will is with us today. And Will, you brought something up earlier. I want to bring it up too to
yes, sir.
hopefully rest some people's minds at ease. You get it. I get it every day. Somebody's got some little thing. I'm worried about this. What's going to happen to Kamala if this happens? Or what's Donald Trump going to gain if this happens? The time to worry about that shit is over. It's too
Yep.
late for any of these little things to fucking do it. We're on a track right now. We're talking about destiny. What's going to happen is going to happen. And I'm feeling confident. You're feeling confident that it's going to be a big win for Kamala. All this stuff you've been writing me about every day. Well, this happened with the war in the Middle East, or this happened with this lawsuit or this trial. Fuck it. Who cares right now? Just focus on the election. Go out and vote. That's all you can really do. Don't worry about shit you can't control. It's going to be fine.
It's basically right now, and it's kind of funny because one of the last videos I did today was about that. It's about you keep hearing about the undecided voter, because the press is coming up with stuff now. The undecided voter, the Palestinian leftists, the third party voter for Joe Stein. All these things that kept going on. And you said, and I'm going to say it as blunt as I can. It's too late. It's over.
Yeah.
I'm not going to convince you. You're not going to be convinced. I don't care about you anymore. I have a simple statement for you people. Move or you will be moved.
Right.
Because the train is a coming. Because all these things they keep talking about, the biggest thing last week was the ethnic vote. She's losing all the black votes. She's losing the
Not
Hispanic
true.
votes. But the numbers, and Arlene said it straight, the numbers are still the same.
Yeah.
They shifted a little, but the press is saying, well, no. I mean, there was a thing in Florida saying that the Hispanics will vote for Trump for the first time, or Republicans for the first time more than Democrats. And I'm going, make it make sense. I don't see it.
Well, Arlene was trying to explain it. Maybe I can explain it too. Is that during Biden, it was like 60% for Latinos, 60% uh, Joe Biden, and maybe like 37% for Donald Trump. Okay. So now Kamala's in, and it's like 58% for Kamala and 38 or 39% for Donald Trump. So you can see there's still a big chasm there.
Right.
But what they can legitimately say, but doesn't mean anything, is, well, Kamala's losing ground with Latino voters. Well, maybe she lost 2% over what Biden had, but we're talking about two different things, and it's still a split of 20 points. So fuck you.
Yeah, and the thing about it, I mean, I'm not happy, and the press kind of look for these. As I said, there's another woman who does talks about polls, kind of political stuff, and she was saying that look at the sample size, and that thing about Hispanics shifting. You know what the sample size was for that Times poll?
I can only imagine.
1,500 people.
That's bullshit.
1,500, and I go, that's ridiculous. She goes, yeah, but it could be the sound. I go, I've been to bigger barbecues in my life. I've been to bigger quinceañeras in my life. 1,500. And then they find all the, hi guys, I'm going to say a word, so bear with me. They find all the pendejos they can speak of about what they said to Trump. And they're all talking Fox talking points.
Yeah.
All right. They are not the majority of us. I mean, we see all those TikToks with black guys talking shit, talking about Trump, Biden, Obama. Basically said, "Hey, dudes, what are you doing? Don't do it. Vote for a woman." And then they went after Obama because what's he going to tell me? Well, I don't know. He's going to make sense to you, but if you don't want to listen to him, again, get out of the way
Right.
because it's too late. It is too late. let's all talk about the newest October surprise Judge Chuckton dropped on us.
Right.
All the proof. Okay, I think that's great, but you know what? Tell me something I don't already know.
Well, that's I saw another creator say this, and I don't necessarily agree with the way he does things. It was Hawk, and he
Mhm.
said, so these 2,000 pages dropped, and a lot of it's redacted. Whole
Yep.
pages are redacted. Um, but he said, who fucking cares? And to a large degree, that's true because how much more shit do we have to get to tell us that Donald Trump is a piece of shit? Anybody who hasn't decided yet is an idiot.
Yep.
They're going to go with Donald Trump or they're going to go with Kamala Harris. And this new 2,000 point drop or 2,000 page drop isn't going to do anything. The only benefit that happens from this, it's yet another thing that will embarrass Donald Trump and he'll think it hurts him. So I'm glad he's going to be troubled over it.
Yeah, we're end game, guys.
Yeah,
This is end game. So our job now is to vote. I'm not going to worry about the undecided because if you're an undecided voter, you already made your decision. It's simple as that. Your decision has been made.
you're trying to
You're
get
just trying,
attention.
yeah, trying to get attention. Yeah, I've seen this. Blah blah blah. Go cry somewhere else.
Yeah,
Um, for the rest of us, it's a chance to because people are really afraid of Trump being president again. I get it. I just at this point I'm reaching as we're getting closer and closer and closer, and I see the trends and I see what's going on, and I see this man just literally dripping like wax in the middle, a wax candle melting in the sun.
yeah.
There, you cannot tell me that panic is not setting in with the Republicans. Because here's the thing, you guys, he's going to suck you down. Donald Trump is a big fat whirlpool, and
No,
everything's going down with him that's near that vicinity.
he's
Enjoy oblivion,
he's
because
a,
that's
he's
what's coming.
he's a black hole. He'll suck everything. I'm going to throw this out as a policy that Kamala should have, and it's benefiting the Republicans. You hear a lot of Republicans saying what everybody says before an election. Well, if Donald Trump loses, I'm moving out of the country. I think Kamala should put together a program with Congress to give everybody who wants to leave the country, a Republican, give them
Hmm.
$5,000 and a kick in the ass and let them go. But the ironic thing is, all these people saying, if Donald Trump doesn't win, I'm going to another country because I don't feel safe. Well, that's ironic. That's what Hispanic people are doing coming to this country, and you're against them.
Exactly.
Now you want to go to another country because you don't feel safe and be an immigrant. That's
Oh,
a little
you're gonna
hypocritical.
laugh at one. I saw one of those with like an older white woman, and they asked, "Where are you gonna go?" She said, "Mexico." Fuck. What? What are you talking about? What do you think it's gonna be when you show up in Mexico? I mean, it's like, no, bye. Don't. I mean, bye. I mean, go.
You
Just.
know what?
I mean,
If you
go.
think you're freer in Mexico, I have a friend that I live near in Savannah, and he had a
Mhm.
nice place in Mexico, and it was on a nice property. But what he saw there is, I mean, if you think there's corruption in the United States, wait till you go to Mexico. I mean, Mexico's
Oof.
a lovely place. I love Mexico. But he had a house and he saw people around him with nice properties. And if the government decides they want it, they just take it. You get nothing. You take
Get
it.
nothing.
And
I mean,
so if they think they're going to be freer there or any other country, I mean, Canada doesn't want you.
oh, the Canadians, no. I mean, they didn't even want people talking about it when if Biden was going to lose or
Yeah.
when Trump was president. They didn't even want that. Look, there. This is just showing the absolute desperation and just the fear that these. What are they afraid of? It's simple. They think that brown people and black people are going to take everything they have and their life's going to end. No, your life is going to be the same. It's probably going to be a little better. The only thing is that your your asset, your white skin, no offense, Mike, your white skin is not going to be valued as much as you want it to be.
It
That's
doesn't
when it
make me
comes,
special.
doesn't make you special. See, that's the thing.
And my mom
Everyone,
always told me you're special, but she never said it
it's,
was because of my white skin.
yeah. And the thing about it's like the biggest statement these guys keep talking about, it was they pay homage to it once a year, is Martin Luther King's statement. It's people will be judged not by the color of their skin, but the content of their character.
Right.
Problem is, if you have a content of character and your color of your skin is brown, black, or mixed, at a woman, your content of character has to be 3 times more than
Right.
a white man.
Right.
We know this. We've worked with mediocre guys in our life, wondering how the fuck did he get that position? Honestly, we know this.
Yep.
And we know there's people that are much better than they are. And that's like the whole thing about affirmative action. That's never been about right. It's about looking at the application without skin color involved
Well,
and name.
people
And do
have to
you
understand what
qualify for it?
people have to understand what affirmative action is. Affirmative action is, I don't know how you explain it. Look, if we could say to everybody, just be fair to everybody, treat everybody the same. And if they would do it, you wouldn't need affirmative action. So because we can't get people to do that, we need the affirmative action to force the fucks that won't do it to do it. I don't think, everybody who's racist says, well, they want special things. I was in a fucking airport. I was in a fucking airport in Savannah. And there's a guy going back to Minnesota. He's sitting across the way from us. And I hear him talking to this woman, and the two couldn't have had five brain cells between them. And he starts talking about immigrants. And he says, they come to our state and they get brand new Hondas and brand new Toyota SUVs. And guess what? You're paying for it. And my wife just looks at me and she goes, no, just shut up. And I go, I'm not going to say anything. I just want to flight home and get home. But if he sits next to me and he says that shit, I'm going to have to make him cry.
Oh yeah, and that's what. Let's talk about one thing. Like, did you see? There's a lot of stuff talking about the the price women have paid now since the Dobbs decision.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And you probably saw the same report I saw because it's everywhere. 134 rape-induced pregnancies a day
Yeah.
since the Dobbs decision.
Right.
64,000 pregnancies due to sexual assault since the Dobbs decision. And you kind of look at it and going, that's not a coincidence.
No.
It's not. And also that's all based in 14 states that have pretty much total bans in abortion.
Right.
And then you listen how these people talk about women. The next fight we're going to have, guys, is the states' rights bullshit fights.
Right.
Because even though the federal thing's going to come down, the Congress is going to work toward, these states are going to fight us bitter, because this has been their bread and butter. I mean, there's a video going on with some podcasts when they asked some girl, what if Alabama states' rights? Well, if Alabama wants slavery, is that okay? Well, if they want it, sure. Well, I don't care. I mean, I'm like going, fought a whole fucking war over that,
Yeah.
lady. I mean, and the thing about states have rights to do things within their states that are within the framework of the federal constitution.
Right.
That's the way it's been. You don't have the right as a state to make certain things illegal that are totally illegal. The reason that the federal government steps in is because the states are violating people's rights. Dobbs was the first time that people's rights were taken away and states were allowed, no, since slavery, states were allowed to take away a person's rights. And it's not good. And we're going to fight that fight afterwards.
And I think what people don't understand, the abortion issue is humongous, and that needs to be addressed. But the true right that was taken away in the Constitution when they overturned Dobbs, or the Dobbs, whatever, overturned Roe v. Wade, was the privacy issue.
Yes.
Now, the privacy issue has a lot to do with a lot of shit. You're telling me that we don't, as constituents in this country, aren't afforded a certain amount of privacy. Well, the Republicans got to be mad about that because when they fought against registering guns, it was based on the privacy issue. So this is why, when the Democrats get power and if they want to push this Roe v. Wade thing and take away privacy rights, go back to the gun rights and say, now you got to register because you have no privacy rights.
And the private and they and one person that gets that and Republican states and especially like Texas push that. They
Right.
I mean they don't want but it's about power for a certain amount of men who want to feel powerful and they're always old and they're always ignorant and they always have skeletons in their closet.
Yeah.
I mean,
Always.
it's always it's no different and their thinking is no different than the Taliban.
No, it's
If
very
you
similar.
it's exactly similar and the war on women overall is sad because they do not respect women. They consider women nothing but brood mares.
Right.
As simple as that. And the thing about why they don't care that they die, oh well, to to use a term from Game of Thrones, where he threatened one of his wives, this evil guy said, "I'll kill your wife," and he goes, "I'll get another one," because that's how they look at women.
Yeah. Well,
They
that's what
don't look. Go
that's what
ahead.
I've said about this whole thing is that you have to understand this whole election at the core is a war against women. You
Yes,
either are with women or you're against women, and that's how you should decide where to vote.
and also, I mean, the immigration thing was tossed in because we got to have that. That's an American flavor.
Yeah.
Had that for centuries. Got to toss that in. But yeah, it is a fight. I don't know what it is with these guys. What I mean, obviously they didn't date. Obviously they never had women as friends. I
Yeah.
mean, let's be honest. They never had relationships with women that they didn't consider to be sexual, or the woman had to be submissive to them because it doesn't. You don't have a woman as a partner. You don't consider your woman, your lady as a partner. You consider them as something to be
Second,
used.
secondary
Yeah,
citizens. But yeah, I will tell you this: if you don't understand the difference between state rights and federal rights, I'll put it to you this way: I'm a white man living in America. I have inalienable rights. I have freedom to do the things I want to do. However, I have to answer to the federal government, which happens to be my wife. I don't get to run roughshod without going through her. And that's kind of how the federal government works with state rights
exactly. And you don't want to. Yeah, you really don't want to piss off the federal government because they're like
or
the
my wife.
IRS.
Trust me, you
Yeah,
don't want
same
to piss
thing.
off my wife
Trust me, I've been there. Sometimes in the
today.
doghouse. Yeah, today. Yeah, the other day too. That being said, okay, let's push that nightmare back. But you see what I'm saying? We've had normal. You've been with your wife. You said 40. I said 40 years. I saw your anniversary TikTok.
40, 41.
40. Yeah, I'm coming up on that. I just can't imagine my life without her
Oh, yeah. I've lived with
because
my
we
wife
did.
longer than I did lived without her. So,
Yeah, and so it's like, and I listen to these people and I listen to these men, and I wonder what went wrong. How did you not? What went wrong?
well,
I mean,
I think it's a throwback to the old days when women were second class citizens and they've just never evolved. Their dads were like that. Now they're like that and they're making their sons like that. This is what I've always said. People will say to me, "Well, I'm like that. I do these things because my dad did it." And I said with Arlene, I said that doesn't flush out because
no,
here's the deal. Your dad does something, and I'm sure I did a lot of things like my dad, but when you get to be about 18, 19, 20, you're an adult and you can
mhm.
see the difference between right and wrong. Now, whether your dad did it before or not, it's up to you to pick to do right or wrong. And if you choose to do wrong, don't blame it on dad. That's on you.
Yeah, I mean, my dad was Puerto Rican and he was hardcore, but he loved my mom to the bitter end.
Yeah.
I mean, and then I think that's the example that I grew up with, and hopefully my kids are the same because I know they're respectful. But I mean, let's put it. You were talking about, that's how they do it. There's this. cute story that's going around here in Georgia. There's a woman who's close to 75 years old. Her husband died recently.
I heard. Yeah, I heard the
She's
story. It's
okay.
good.
She was voting for the first time in her life because
Right.
her husband didn't want her to vote because she thought that was not a thing a woman can do. Everyone that's treated this like some kind of puff piece.
Right.
I looked at that. I'm going, that is disgusting.
It's abuse.
That is horrific. And that exactly is what every fucking Republican wants for women in this country.
Well, they
Period.
say it. A lot of them say it.
They say it.
Women shouldn't get the vote.
I mean,
It's ridiculous.
to watch everyone react to it like it was like a cute puppy story getting him out of the storm drain.
Yeah.
No, that was like unbelievably. As one person said, comment on the video was like, that's why people are leaving stickers in women's bathrooms. Vote for Kamala. Don't tell your husband.
Right.
That's
It's sad.
scary.
Well, the thing about it is if you're married to a guy and he tells you and forces you not to vote, that's not the only issue in the marriage. He's doing other shit. He's
Oh yeah,
commanding other shit. He's commanding other shit. It's not a fun or happy or a fluff story. It's sad, it's abusive, and I think it happens more often than we know.
but that's and the thing about it, going back to what we're talking about fear and the polls and what the mass media has not talked about women rights and abortion in weeks.
No, they
Have
really
you
haven't.
noticed that?
Yeah,
They haven't said a damn word about it. Why? Because they know Trump is so far upside down with that, it's not even funny. It's coming. It's coming when Ron DeSantis is done this thing with the abortion rights, reproductive rights um, referendum in Florida. He's prepared. He had his election team investigate it and found out that he's saying that 16% of those searches are frauds. Dude, when they presented him to the Secretary of State, they would have found that anyway.
right.
You're a lying sack of shit, and you want to use that to overturn it later because you know that's going to lose. You're going to lose on that. Dude, you tried to shut down television stations for running an ad. You're not the federal government. You do not do the FCC. You can't do that.
No.
I
Well,
mean, and I Florida is going to turn blue just because of his ass.
and if
Period.
and if that well, yeah, I've said that too. It's going to turn blue not only because Ron DeSantis is a dipshit, but also because people are going through a lot of shit in Florida. I mean, it's hard to
Yes.
live in Florida with the insurance rates, the major events, the uh, natural events, the taxes. I mean, the whole thing with Disney that's raising people's
Yeah.
taxes.
It,
The whole thing is just it's got to be a hard place to live, and it's sad because Florida is a beautiful place.
because you voted for incompetency.
Yep.
You voted for some kind of fantasy thing, and he's incompetent. And you can see that right away when the hurricanes are coming in. Dude, just embrace the federal government. Get it fucking out of the way. You may not like him, but you need that for your state. For your state. This is how fucked up this is. You've heard of that Representative Luna
Yeah.
in Florida. She's a nut.
She's a
She's a
nut.
stone cold MAGA nut. Um, you know who called her? Joe Biden.
Really?
Joe Biden called her because her district was right in right on bang, right in the middle of Milton, and he called her and asked her, "What do you need for your district?" Joe Biden called probably the worst person in Congress, who I know was one of the part to um, try to impeach him, and asked her, "What do you need from me?" And she was surprised. Why are you fucking surprised, lady? Why?
He's doing his job.
And that's the thing. This whole lack of empathy that shows that you're tough, it's not. Everything I've ever been taught to be someone who lead or coach, it's never, ever about putting someone down, it's lifting someone up.
Right.
Even in sports, when they talk about coaches, even on the pro later level. Is he taking this person and raising them up? Is he making them better or is he making them worse?
Yeah.
And the point is with Donald Trump, and let's talk about not only all the things we talked about. He never in his life has never helped someone.
No, it's all about
It's
him.
about him. And Kamala Harris has always thought about Joe Biden has always thought about the American people.
All you have to do is watch Kamala Harris when she's standing there and this little girl, maybe 4
Oh
years
my
old,
God,
comes up and says,
yes.
I love you, Kamala Harris. When we fight, we win. And goes up. And Kamala is obviously taken aback by this because she was surprised. But this woman has some compassion. Donald Trump has zero compassion
It,
for anybody, including the people that support him.
and the thing about it's like watching grown women, and I've seen the reactions when she walks into places. It's not. It's like she's here, and she relates to him, and there are a couple people like crying, and
Yeah.
it's because they feel something final. Maybe it's relief
Yeah.
because you watch like JD Vance talk to people. Trump, it's not talking to people, it's talking at people.
Right.
And the thing about it's like that whole women's town hall we had talked about last week, you know what that was? It was fake.
It was fake
It was
because
just
they
it was
a bunch of Trump fans.
Trump fans. And then to make it even worse, Kamala Harris ratings on her interview, 7.3 million viewers. His fake town hall later, 3.1.
But the
Why?
polls are even. Yeah.
Yeah,
Tell me, explain that.
no, and you can't explain it. But the point is that drove it when he went crazy over it. I mean, when he dies, and I can say he dies here, not on the TikTok video because they get all sensitive.
Yeah.
When
We
he
can do whatever
finally,
we want to.
yeah, he dies and he shows up in hell because there isn't going to be any visit to St. Peter. St.
Yeah.
Peter's already got the slide going.
Yeah.
He's going to show up in hell, and Lucifer is going to stand there. And the first thing he's going to talk to Lucifer is like, what were my ratings like when I died? How did they cover it? And Lucifer Morningstar is going to look at him and go, not good, not good at
There's
all.
a lot of cheering in the streets, and they had your funeral in front of that lawn and garden place down and wherever the
Yeah,
fuck
I
it
mean,
was.
I mean, that's the thing. He lives his life for. I mean, everyone wants approval. I mean, you got to be human not to get approval. I'll be honest. When I look at my followers, I'm at 1,400. I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I take that. I mean,
Yeah.
because I'm human. I look at the videos. The son that get. Why has this only got 60 views? That's a good video. I mean, that's me being human.
Yeah.
But I don't live like that. I can't because I will give to others. I will do what I need to do for family and friends, because that's how where all normal people are built.
Right.
But Donald Trump, it's all about he is a big fucking leech that sucks everything out of everything. And someone described him as this is a good Harry Potter thing. He's like a dementor, which
Yeah.
sucks the life out of someone, sucks your soul. We've been doing that for 10 fucking years.
It's hard to
It's
imagine when this all started in 2015, 2016. Never in my wildest dreams did I think we'd have to be dealing with this for 10 years. I thought, well, maybe uh, after he loses, then we'll be done with him. I honestly thought that might be the case, and it fucking
but
wasn't. He
but
stuck around like
because
a bad penny.
but I think conversely, and I thought about this, what the message of Kamala Harris is now, if you listen to it, there's no Democratic message. It is a message of America, American opportunity. This is for everybody.
Right.
Be you black, white, mixed, be you Democratic or Republican. We're all one people, and this opportunity economy will help you. Now, do we need um, Democrats to run Congress? Yes, because that's the only opportunity. Because Republicans aren't going to go with the program. Republican
Right.
politicians, Republican people, or people who vote conservative. Here's the thing: We've been under 40 years of Reaganomics, 40 years of this bullshit
Well,
that they
50.
have. Yeah, yeah, 50. Yeah, you're right. That they have sold us on, that killed the middle class, that killed the economy. It wasn't until Joe Biden turned it around with manufacturing, and it was Joe Biden who looked at it a different way, and it's why we have the CHIPS Act. All the things that came out in the 2 years that he had Congress. The best thing I think that's going to be about Donald Trump, and history may evaluate it that way. We won't see it, but I have a feeling this will come out in the future. Is that with the Donald Trump time and the Republican Party embracing this far right fascist man and his incompetency, we broke the back of the trickle down economics bullshit.
Oh, I
We
agree. I
broke
agree.
and we broke the back of the obstructionists like Mitch McConnell because we found that it doesn't work. You lied to us, and the incompetent man showed us that.
Well, the thing is, most of us knew this all along. I think Joe Biden deserves some credit too, because he kind
Yes.
of opened Pandora's box. He, instead of doing the trickle down, he gave money to the middle class, which the Republicans always said we can't afford that. But he gave money to the middle class, and look at the economy. We've got
But
a
all
record in the stock market. We've got unemployment down very low. We've got GDP going up, manufacturing
mhm.
going up. So it turns out Joe gives money back to the middle class and we flourish. Who knew?
and the and the other thing is like it's Keynesian economics. Daniel Keynes was right. The the government sometimes has to push the economy.
Yeah.
Laissez-faire doesn't work. Trickle down economics never worked. That was just Milton Friedman bullshit.
Yeah.
Um, but he went back to pure Keynesian economics, FDR stuff. But here's the thing: by giving manufacturers money incentive to build in the United States, that's what brought manufacturing jobs back, but not just traditional high tech, which we had been importing from China. That is killing the Chinese economy.
Yeah.
People don't realize that. The Chinese economy is suffering because we make better tech than they do. We always have made better tech than we do. It's just that the manufacturers didn't have
They're
an incentive
cheaper.
to build in the United States. Yeah, they were cheaper. But now with an incentive, even if you're paying people good wages, you still win.
Yeah.
And then you don't have the import problems. You don't have the issues with the politics of it. You're not worried about the Chinese stealing your goddamn tech.
Right.
It's all here at home and it's building up. And what do you hear Trump talk about? He talks about doing away with electric cars. He goes against the solar panels because they don't understand it. They don't get it. That is the future. No one is saying we're not going to use oil or gas. We're producing more than ever. What we're showing is that you can have both, be independent, energy independent, and then build a strong economy bigger than anyone in the world, which we have now. So the idea of Donald Trump sitting in some kind of economic panel and talking about I'm going to raise tariffs $2,000 so they don't buy you can't buy a car from anywhere
Right.
imported only in the U.S. is insane. It's all insane. It makes no sense at
Well,
all.
one of the things the Republicans are talking about and making people believe is that Kamala Harris is going to come in. She's going to change everything to electric cars. And then all these gas companies and all these gas cars are going to be obsolete and it's going to tear down the country. What people have to understand is if we started today with the intention of switching all vehicles to electric, that won't happen until after I'm dead.
Right.
It's going to be 20, 25 years before we've switched over completely.
And Trump got on this thing about hydrogen. Look, dude, they've been talking about hydrogen powered cars for decades.
Yeah.
The only problem with hydrogen powered cars is isn't the explosion. You know what it is? It's the water.
Yeah.
Because when you use hydrogen and the way you burn it, the byproduct is water. Where do you do it with the water? It's a mess. And also it's right now too expensive to use it. And when he's talking about hydrogen, we're not talking about the fucking Hindenburg, asshole. It's a small engine. It's built differently. See,
Well, don't we
this
have less water than we do have oil?
no, what it is like you know how the only reason an American submarine, a warship, has to come up is for food,
Right.
because what they do with their nuclear power plant, they have unlimited energy. They have unlimited water and air because they take the salt water, electrolyze it through their fusion plants,
Oh,
and they
okay.
have water, H2O. They have water and they have oxygen. Those are the byproducts of burning off the salt.
Wow.
And so a hydrogen engine would do the same. It's just the byproduct is water. And there'll be the more oxygen in the air, so that would help everyone. It's a brilliant technology that can work. It's just beyond us right now. But see, that's the thing. Imagination. I've always said, people talk about fission, which is nuclear power.
Right.
You can do fusion power, which is basically the power of the sun, though it's just unlimited with less radiation. It's many companies are working on it. They can do it. If you literally had a Manhattan Project about fusion energy, this world would change immediately.
Yeah.
The other thing you can do, and I'm going to go really far out, guys, you can use satellites in orbit, collect solar energy, and pipe it down into Earth. That's
Really?
unlimited sense of power. Yeah, those are technologies that are outside of our preview right now, but they're being worked on. See, the thing about everyone in this old world that we live in, especially the old guys on the Republican side, they have no goddamn imagination.
That's true.
Me being a fucking nerd, but the thing about it is that it's based on science.
Right.
And a lot of stuff
They don't believe in science.
they don't believe in science. But here's the thing. There's a bit, someone did a thing about, look at the things they did in Star Trek in the 60s and look how it looks like now. Look how the technology flowed across. The Apollo space program died because people were saying, well, why do we care about space? A lot of the computers we're talking on and using came to the space program.
Right.
Understand, we put a man on the moon with less memory that is in a small stick
Yeah.
anymore. They had 640K of memory on their computers to put a man on the moon.
That's
See,
crazy to think about.
but here's the thing, and that's the thing I hate about Donald Trump. And if anyone out there is undecided and you're listening to us, first of all, you're fucking lying. Two, and Joe Biden has made this comment a lot. We can do anything as an American people.
We
We put
have.
man on the moon. We put man on the moon with less technology we should have. We have done so much. Science and technology has been an American thing for decades. And to watch a man denigrate that to the point that it cost us lives, even today, is sad. And to watch him, and if you're working stiff, to watch Trump stand up there and say, all they do is take stuff out of the box and put it together. A child can do it. It tells you he's never worked a motherfucking day in his life.
And he hasn't. He
He
hasn't.
hasn't. I worked in a factory, mass production, and you're in there keeping the machinery running. A lot of it is hand labor. This is not the denigration of who we are by him. It's the saddest thing we have to get over, because I've never seen a presidential candidate talk about America like he does. He doesn't believe in America. He believes in Trump.
Yeah.
And Trump's world is just a world where everyone bows to him and gives him what he wants. And I'm tired of it. I've had it.
I think we're all tired of it, and I think that's going to play a big role in the election too. People just want to go on with their lives, enjoy their family, their friends, their work, and all this stuff, and not
Uh,
have to be worried about politics all day, every day, and wait for the
well, I mean,
next shit show to come through.
we're gonna worry about politics because now it's gonna be the politics of what we should do next
Right.
and how we should do it, and it's not going to be easy. The Supreme Court is going to be a fight. Although I'm seeing reports that John Roberts is shocked that people are upset about the immunity decision. Really, dude?
Isn't he supposed to be
You
smart?
think? No, he's lost his mind. He's in some kind of weird ass bubble. The whole Supreme Court is in a weird ass bubble. And they're going to find out when we burst the bubble. Because the thing we're going to fight after January 20th is that we're going to see the states that are going to fight us to the bitter end. Texas. Trust me, we're going to hear next year, you know what the biggest story is going to be? Texas secession.
See ya.
We're going to hear that for months. Um, all these southern states are going to talk about no. And the point is, money is going to pour into those states from all the programs they're talking about, and that's going to make a difference. It's making a difference now.
Well,
They don't want to admit it.
that's what I've said too, is it's important that the Democrats, once they get the power, to start getting things done, because all these Republicans that have been lied to all this time are now going to receive some benefits to their lives and make things
Mhm.
better. And those motherfuckers will want to keep that train flowing, so they'll become Democrats.
And the thing about it is, like, people say, "What are you going to do afterwards?" Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to be talking about what's next for America, and it's a different. I don't think in our lifetimes we've gone from good economy to a better economy. I don't think we have. I think we've always gone from a good economy to someone's going to who crashes it.
Right.
We've always. I mean, we go back to it. I haven't seen it.
No, I don't
I
think
haven't
so
seen
either.
consistent. Um, so now, unless there was a like Obama got reelected or Clinton got reelected, but even Obama, it was the second part because he had to fix George Bush's mess,
Right.
and Mitch McConnell didn't help him, and that's another thing. If you have it's the thing about Congress too. This is a warning to all you assholes on the Democratic side. You may win, but if you try to make your bones on Kamala Harris, you know what I mean, like Joe Manchin tried, you're going to get run over. Because
Yeah.
here's the thing, there isn't going to be no 100-day sweetheart. It's going to be 4 years
Yeah. Well,
with her.
that's the thing I sense with her. She she's the first presidential candidate I'm genuinely excited about her being president. I mean, I like Obama,
Mm.
but I'm genuinely excited because I see something in her I don't see in Joe Biden. Joe Biden is an old school guy who wants to play by the rules. Kamala wants to win. She'll play by the rules, but she's going to be a lot tougher than Joe Biden ever was.
And that's a prosecutor mentality.
Right,
I want to win.
right,
I've got to win. And I got to win for the person I recommend, for the people I'm representing. And she's always worked for the people.
right.
And that's what you saw in the Brett Bear, the Fox interview. No, dude, I ain't going down. No, this is how it's going to be. And that's what you see. I mean, let's face it. The MAGA hecklers. That was hilarious.
Yeah, it was.
That was, I mean, because remember, you had, I think, a week before, you had
She owned
a
some Trump
heckler.
tards. She
Yeah,
owned some Trump tards.
but you had a Harris heckler at a at a Trump rally, and what he said, basically kick her ass,
Yeah.
beat her. She just basically looked at him and said, "Nah, I'm going to beat you a different way," and embarrassed him and humiliated him, and they left.
Oh,
Why?
yeah.
Because
She
first of
said,
all, you're not going to talk your shit amongst those people
she
because they
said,
will
she,
get hostile.
she
So
said, you're in the wrong place. You probably want to go to the one down the street, the smaller one.
the smaller one, that was like, and that's where we're at right now, and that's the thing. Again, when we do this shit, you and I, we talk about one is because psychologically it makes us feel better, or we're going to yell like two old men in the wind. Thank
Yeah.
God for TikTok. Literally,
Thank
we're doing that as two old men in
thank
the
thank
wind.
God for followers and viewers because we'd look like fucking nutcases.
Oh yeah, they would have left. They would have arrested us, or we're the one at the Thanksgiving dinner and go, here, have another. No, have another biscuit,
Yeah.
please, please have another biscuit. And but a lot of these people that talk with that don't, not that they don't think like this, but they worry so much because that's all your life's been so far is worry.
Right.
Everything is worry. Harlan Ellison made a brilliant, the writer Harlan Ellison made a brilliant observation about, someone asked him why horror movies and horror stories are so popular. And he said, because real life is scarier.
Yeah.
Because I will face a monster in a basement over trying to figure out how am I going to pay my bills if I have $50 left in my checkbook. That's scary.
Yeah. It is scary.
And that's scary. And that's his point, because we have been in a fucking horror show for months, for years. And we all been struggling with it. Now it looks like we have an opportunity to build something even bigger. Maybe in the end, we're going to thank Donald Trump for his incompetent life, because it may have led to a better life for all Americans and our kids. If we keep up the pressure, if we do the right thing, if we don't fall back to what's normal for us, because we're going to have to make some big leaps of faith
Well, people
in
in
the
this
next few
country
years.
leading up to Donald Trump has been an apathetic lot. We just went along to get along. Donald Trump forced us to fight and be aware and get involved. And in that respect, he maybe did something positive for the
But
country
it might
because
be
we got to fight
weird.
him back. Yeah.
It's going to be weird, because let's be honest. Because the night of November 5th, and through until January 6th is going to be, whew. You think this? Right now we're just doing the job. Everyone's kind of getting there. We're feeling it
Right.
right now. We can feel that this is coming there. But after that, it's going to be the final fight, because you ain't going to go down without a fight. We know
Yeah.
this. And those of us who are scared of the fight, get out of the way. Let the rest of us do it. I think but that's going to be a quick skirmish, and then we're going to get back to business.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, right now we see from the Republican Party, um, from MAGA, from the on the ground MAGA people, all this is desperation.
Absolutely.
It's desperate, and I like the smell of desperation. Smells like victory.
I like the smell of flop sweat because there's a lot of it
Oh,
out there.
I mean, and I want, look, Texans. If Jace didn't say it, I'll say it from here in Georgia, because we got rid of our two MAGA fucks, and they were not. They were just MAGA fucks.
Yeah.
But Ted Cruz is a fucking disease,
Yeah.
and you've been keep feeding that disease for decades. End
It's true.
that. End it. I mean, because I don't get you. If he wins that election again, whatever, Texas, I don't even want to hear another fucking word from you anymore,
Yeah.
because that's ridiculous.
It's
I
well, what'll be nice is if they vote out Ted Cruz, it'll be so pleasurable on the same line as I stopped hitting my head against the wall because it felt good when I
oh,
stopped. And that'll be the same thing for Ted Cruz. Just stop
I will,
pounding your head against the wall and feel better.
and then what'll happen? There will be a secret, quiet Republican Senator Party in DC,
Yeah.
and they're going to pop champagne and be happy because he's gone.
Thank
Uh,
God Ted Cruz has a podcast. You know he had a podcast, and he'll be a media icon for sure.
yeah, right. Keep it up. I mean, I'm hoping that this is that big. If Trump may not. I mean, by Harris may not win Texas, but if you get Ted Cruz, cool.
That's
I'm
doing
good with
something.
that.
I don't know that
I'm
she'll get
cool with it.
Texas. I'd be excited for Florida. I'd be excited for Iowa and North Carolina.
I mean, Florida is on the Florida's on the Florida's on the table.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I cannot see all those people doing what they're doing, and you're going to tell me that Trump's going to win this. What was it? One poll had Trump up by 6 in Florida.
that's
Are you out of your
bullshit.
fucking minds? I mean, no wonder they wanted to legalize pot in Florida. They need it.
Yeah. Well, I tell you
My,
what, after the November 5th election, I will predict there will be people in the streets, but they will be cheering and happy and partying. People will be so glad to be rid of Donald Trump and to have slipped past this dangerous situation. People will be relieved and they will be jubilant.
yeah, I mean, it was after 2020.
Yeah.
Think about it. When Joe Biden went, I mean, they rang the fucking bells in Paris.
Yeah.
In Paris. And people tell me that he's respected overseas. They
Now,
rang the bells in Paris when he lost.
I get emails from people overseas. Everybody hates him. Everybody's terrified that he'll become president again. He doesn't have any respect overseas.
No, he doesn't. And they're waiting to see if Americans will do the right thing again. And I think we will.
Oh, I
I
don't
mean,
think I'm not even
I don't,
worried.
yeah, I mean, I mean, our biggest fear because the electoral college, but I think that's even going to be bigger. Oh my God, that's going to be huge
You know what I'm going
if
to
he rolls.
do on
Mm,
November 6th after the election?
mm.
When you go to TikTok and see what I'm talking about, all you're going to see is a bunch of my TikToks tagging every Republican or Trump the fuck creator or politician, and I'm just going to giggle my fucking ass off. I'm going to laugh.
It's going to be fun to watch him cry.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, they're already starting. They're already
Oh,
starting. They feel it. They feel it in their bones. They know it's coming to. And the problem with a cult, it never ends well.
no, it never
I
ends
mean,
well.
it never ends well, and I'm afraid that it's going to be for them, not for us. For them, it's going to be really bad because when you latch your identity to something like that and it disappears, whew, good luck.
Yeah, you
I,
tied yourself to all this, and it was nothing but a horrible joke, and that's what you're going to go down in history as a horrible joke.
I mean, maybe a joke, or maybe it was the one thing we needed this to wake our country up from the stupidity that the Republicans have put us in, the trickle down theory and all that. Because now we presented a better way of doing things, a smarter way of doing things,
And it
and
works.
we and works, and it could be continued. Because one person, I think Bear, he asked Kamala Harris, "Are you going to do the same that Joe Biden?" She says, "No, I'm not Joe Biden. I'm me." But she's going to build on it, but it's going to be totally different,
Right, right,
and it's going to
exactly.
be good for all of us. That's the thing. Remember this, y'all. It's going to be good for all of us,
Yeah.
and that's the plus
Red or blue,
overall.
it doesn't matter.
No,
Well, well, we're
yeah,
gonna wrap things up. We always go on and I know people
no,
enjoy hearing you talk
yeah,
because they always feel better when they listen to us here on the podcast, and I'm
I'm glad.
thankful that we can do that for them.
That's great. To all of you guys, yeah, it's been an interesting few months. We'll see what goes. Again, if you want to see me on TikTok, Binder38 US, a little bit on YouTube. It's kind of a snail, but I'm at 1,400. Maybe I'll get to 2 before the end of the year. That'll be fun. But you know, if you need something, just hit me up. I think it's fun to talk about this, and I'll talk about anything. I mean, my Dodgers got their butts handed to them today, but we're going to finish it on Sunday, and get to the World Series, and we'll take the Yankees. But that's what I enjoy this. I enjoyed talking to you, Mike, because from a guy in the Midwest, we got a lot in common. Weird,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah, it is from
Weird.
from a Hispanic guy in the Southeast, and I'm a lily white guy in the Midwest. I mean that just goes to show what Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are trying to
Mm,
say. We're all one people.
exactly.
Just because you're brown and I'm chalky white, we're in the same situation.
But see, that's the thing. The one thing that people have to remember everything started from immigration.
Right.
It
Right.
started from immigrants, and to use it to the greatest part of the best line, they got the biggest cheer when I saw Hamilton in Chicago. Immigrants, we get the job done.
Yeah. Well,
Simple as that, guys.
my family comes from Scandinavia, Norway and
Hmm.
Sweden. I know those are preferred countries because they're mostly white by Donald Trump, but still, we're immigrants, and it's just the fucking way it is. We should get
So,
more immigrants in that are qualified and that are legal, but we should
mhm.
welcome them in because they've been a large part of why we've been successful.
As Bill Murray says, we're all mutts.
Yeah,
America is a bunch of mutts. That's all we will have been and will be.
that's pretty much
Uh,
the case. That's pretty much the case. Well, thank you, Will, for coming in.
Thank you, sir.
I'm going to be out of town Thursday to Sunday, so I may hit you up again before I leave, so that I can. I don't know what kind of position I'm in, going to be able to record uh, a podcast, so I may
Yeah,
bank a couple of them ahead of time,
cool.
so that
Well, reach out. You know my email. Also, if you're going to LA, remember you got to stop at Felipe's
Felipe's
downtown. Felipe's. It's downtown. Great. The best dip sandwiches there. Pastrami. Check it
really
out. Yeah, old
definitely.
school. Been there 70 years. And my dad took me there. Was a kid. Um, and it's got sawdust on the floor, and it's a it's a great place to eat. So tell your friend we want to
I
go to
will.
Felipe's
I will
and
do that.
enjoy.
And Cindy and I are big on, we're old, so our whole social life is going to restaurants. We want one
Yeah,
today. So,
and also for those of you guys in Southern California who hear this or in LA, Tommy's, the original Tommy's on 7th, is a hamburger you won't forget.
really,
Yeah, it's unique. It's chili and all that, and it's one of the most popular places. So if you're in downtown, check it out. And again, you'll understand why Mexican food is the best in Southern California.
yeah.
Sorry, it is,
Well,
and I
I,
miss it
I,
out here.
I got to be honest with you. In the Midwest here, we have some good Mexican places, but not great Mexican places that I know of. I haven't been to one yet.
Oh, you
S
will be when you go to Southern California.
Yeah,
Enjoy.
where you get to actually experience. It's like going to Georgia. When I go to Georgia, I've been to a couple of places, some buffets with actual real Southern food. Like we went to the Pirate House. Gone,
Uh huh.
holy shit. Southern fried chicken in Georgia is vastly different than Southern fried chicken in Minnesota.
No, yeah, yeah, that's true. It doesn't. But when you go to Southern California, check those out, and you'll have a good time.
Well, and it's
That's all I can
I know
say.
it seems weird coming from Will and I about when we talk about food because he and I just eat like birds and it's always healthy and
No, no, it doesn't work. I remember years ago when I was working at Miller Brewing, my friend, older gentleman, and I were guys were talking about barbecuing and how to best barbecue a chicken.
yeah,
And I looked at him and go, "Did you ever think in your life when we're going to talk about chicks and men, we'll be talking about chickens?"
yeah.
Uh, so
Old men talk about a lot different things than 20-year-old men. It's terribly different.
exactly.
Well, for those of
Uh,
you folks listening, I want to thank you for taking the time to do that. I hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow.